So I had someone on TikTok request a video on anxious attachment. So I thought I would go ahead and just do a quick little blurb about anxious attachment in relationships. Now, this is a theory, a psychological theory that goes back a while into probably the 1960s. So there are basically four types of attachment styles. You can be anxious, you can be secure, you can be avoidant, and you can be disorganized. What we're going to focus on right now is the anxious attachment style. And basically what attachment theory says is one of the ways that we learn how to relate to others is, of course, how we learn to relate to our parents. So there is some understanding that parents who may be inconsistent with a child, sometimes consoling, sometimes not, sometimes cold, sometimes warm, can lead a child to have a feeling of anxiety in relationships, not exactly knowing which caregiver they're going to get, and so filled with a sense of insecurity. And that creates this anxious attachment style. So how does that show up in adult relationships? So it can show up as feelings of low self-worth, feeling dependent on another person, feeling that someone is always getting ready to leave you, maybe being a bit dependent and a little bit clingy on that other person for love and validation, maybe needing constant attention. So, but what exactly can you do about it? Because it's one thing to know your attachment style. It's another thing to actually figure out how you can work around it and create meaningful relationships. So one of the things that is number one, if you want to try to change your attachment style, is number one, to be aware of it, to understand which way you may go in relationships, and to look at your patterns of relating with other people. So if you notice when you're in a relationship with somebody else that you feel needy, you feel dependent, you feel clingy, that may be a sign that you are having an anxious attachment style in relationships. So what exactly do you do about that? Some of it is getting involved with a partner who is responsive to your needs and really letting that partner know, hey, sometimes I'm going to be really anxious in our relationship, and I may ask questions such as, how are you feeling about where we're at? Or do you still love me? So having a partner who's really patient is number one. Number two, you really need to tap into your thoughts and your feelings and your emotions about being anxious, and maybe use meditation or some cognitive behavioral strategies, some reframing of your thoughts to reframe this anxious thinking. So instead of, I haven't heard from him in a few hours, I guess I'm getting dumped, reframe it as, no, I just saw him before. We are consistent. Our relationship is consistent. I'm just having a moment of anxiety. So when you can recognize those signs, those anxious feelings in your body, number one, and be able to name them, put some words to it, you'll then be able to reframe it. And of course, for you yourself, being inconsistent in a relationship is going to make it worse for you. So consistency on your own part is going to be very important, and asking your partner for consistency also. So I hope this gave a little bit of an introduction to anxious attachment. Don't forget to follow my podcast, Slightly Sane, on YouTube and Apple and Spotify and wherever else you get your podcasts from. And also don't forget to sign up for my YouTube channel and subscribe for more content like this at Laura Alec Real. Take care. Bye.